Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, I'm Jay, and today I am going to be planning for the month of May and just generally getting my life back in order. So this is probably going to be a very chatty video because May is a big month for me and my family. There is a lot of things going on for me at work. There is also a lot of things going on in terms of my move. So I have a lot of planning to do this month. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first, if you're new here, my setup continues to be a Hobonichi Techo cousin, the avec size. That is where I do most of my work planning, and then I have been doing my personal planning in this A5 Scribbles That Matter. However, this month there is a lot of overlap on what I'm doing at home and what I'm doing at work because a lot of things are going on that'll require me to do some home stuff during the day and some work stuff at night. So I think this month I'm going to try to merge both my home and my work planner into my bullet journal, into the Scribbles That Matter. I'm going to see how that works out for me. Alright, so first I'm going to start with my monthly overview. So here I'm going into May. I'm going to write down the major things that are happening. So anything that's happening with my husband, I put in green. Anything that's happening with my son, I put in blue. And anything having to do with me, primarily, I put in pink. So I'm bringing out my 3 TWSBI Ecos so that I could write that down. So far, I do have special dress days for my son. This is also his last day of school. We have some things going on for me. So I am actually getting promoted at work on Friday the 3rd, and we have kind of like a little celebration. So I am going to write that down. These things here in green are my deep cleaning that I'm doing before we move. I'm going to be doing a video on that directly following this one, so look out for that being posted. So I have that on Friday. Also, my husband is getting ready to move, so my whole family is moving over to the East Coast from Hawaii. However, we're not moving together, so we're moving in waves. My husband moves first, and then my son and I move second. So he is leaving on the 16th. All right, the next major thing that's happening this week, or this month rather, are the movers are coming to pack us up and ship our stuff. So that's happening on the 13th and 14th. So I'm gonna write that in my color mostly because I know I'll be coordinating that mostly. So planning backwards from that, I know that this weekend I'm going to have to pack my bags for what is not moving. So since my husband is flying out on Thursday and my son and I aren't flying out till a little bit later, we have to pack some bags that are going to stay with us, and my husband is going to have to pack his bag that's going to go forward with him. So this weekend is really about ensuring that we have packed whatever we're going to need for the next month or so, since it takes quite a bit of time for your things to be shipped from Hawaii, then put on a barge and shipped to the West Coast, and then moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. But something we're kind of used to, just being a military family doing these large moves. So we know that on Saturday and Sunday, we're really focusing on packing our sustenance for the next month or so. Okay, so it looks like the cleaners are coming to clean our home before that weekend, which is good. They're gonna come right before the movers get here, and then I'll have to schedule another clean later on in the month, right before my son and I leave, so that way the house is all ready when we return it, since we are renting a home here. I think that's about it, but I'm just gonna take a second to think about anything else that's happening this month. Alright, I don't think that there is anything else. The only exception is that I do want to write down that we need to schedule cleaners for our move-out cleaning. So I'm just going to grab a black pen. And I also need to plan for a hotel room after we clear out of our rental, because we'll be moving out a few days later. Some other things that I've already done is arrange for my husband's hotel room when he lands in Massachusetts, and also for a larger hotel room when my son and I join him. So those are all things that have already been taken care of, and May is really just the execution month compared to the planning month, which was last month. So I'm gonna go ahead and then start up my monthly setup. I think for this month, I'm just going to be doing a monthly brain dump as the overall page, or the overall monthly page. So I'm just going to grab a pen and label that. And leave that as it is. Then I'm going to go into my first week. So this week I'm going to try to merge my work planner and my home planner. So I'm going to have a little bit of a hybrid of what I usually have. So I'm going to pull this out. And I'm going to start with the setup. Now, what I usually do every month in my Hobonichi, which is my work planner, is I set up several columns so I have a stratified or divided to-do list. So since I'm getting ready to move and switch jobs, I've had less things on my to-do list. So an example of what my to-do list looked like before is I would have a bunch of things. I would have high priority, high urgency, high priority, low urgency, then low priority, low urgency. I had some things on the horizon waiting out for a few weeks down the road, and I also have a waiting on list. So this is how I organize my to-do list at work. I use the Eisenhower decision matrix to kind of stratify things. If you're interested in that, I will leave the video either on a card or linked down below. But lately, I've pretty much just been doing a high priority, high urgency, which are things that I have to do this week. A low priority, low urgency, things that I have to do at some point this month. It's my last month of work. And then I have a waiting ons list and an after we move list. So things that I want to keep on the kind of like my horizon, but I've just labeled it things that I have to do after I move, so I'm not even going to worry about that. So what I'm going to do is take these 4 titles and put those up here because I find that the list is getting more manageable. I want to put it here because there are days that I'm not going to be at work. I'm going to be at home, kind of taking care of home things, but I also need to be aware of what is needed at work. So I'm going to be using this section up here for this listing. So right off the bat, I realized that I might need some extra room, so maybe I made these squares too short. So if I was going to do this in the future, I might bring down these lines, which I've put out there for the days of the week. I was planning on writing the days of the week on top of this line, but since I already have like very little room, what I'm going to do is write or do another line at the bottom, and then this will be the top of my weekly. So I've written down every day of the week, and now I'm going to separate two sections at the bottom so that I can write down my workout that I have planned for that day and also what I'll be cooking for dinner. So I consulted my Google Calendar to see what days of the week I had already planned on doing what workouts, and then I went down to my refrigerator and my cupboard and I listed all of the things that were in the freezer and things that I want to use up. So this is part of what we do to get ready to move. I try to make sure that I use up as much food as possible, so things that have been hanging out in the back of the pantry, it's time to incorporate into some food choices for the next few weeks. So I found that I have enough meat and vegetables and starches for the whole week, so I don't necessarily have to go food shopping other than for my son's lunch. So I'm gonna go ahead and schedule out what days I will be cooking what. Now you'll notice that I only did Monday through Friday on this spread, and that's because I am planning on doing a weekend spread in the next page and also having a weekly brain dump. So I find that if I am going to combine my home and my work bullet journal, I do need to have at least several pages to cover what's going on. I'm probably going to have a few dailies as well, since at work I generally have my 2-page weekly and then I have dailies that follow. But because this week is going to be somewhat truncated, so Friday a lot of the time is going to be spent celebrating, and Monday, or actually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I have a 3-day long specific tasks that I'll have to be doing those days, so there's going to be less going on, but I do still want to make sure that I'm not neglecting any home things, so I'm going to do a separate page for the weekend and also just have this page be blank. I'm actually not going to put in brain dump on second thought. I'm just going to leave it blank and use it for daily pages that might come up, but I am going to separate this page for the weekend. So usually I schedule in all of my to-dos for a specific time slot in my week, but I know that some of these days, so as I said, Monday through Thursday, I am supposed to block out 3 days to meet with a group of people, but I have to schedule that in. The reason I gave them a whole 3 days is because it needs to work with other people's schedules. So if I have to meet with, say, 15 people or so a full 24 hours open in my schedule to meet with those 15 people. So I am not going to be using all of those hours for meetings, but I need to have that flexibility. So I'm going to be inserting some of the things that I have to do in those time slots as it becomes evident that I won't be meeting with someone for a 30-minute block or an hour block. Then I have some flexibility to insert some of these to-dos, especially the high priority, high urgency. So it's just a little bit different this week, and I think it's going to be a little bit different for my last month at work moving forward. So that's why I'm trying out this different layout. So these are all of the things that I know are going on and the day specific to-dos. So now I'm going to review my last week and also pick up any outstanding items that are either on my home bullet journal or in my work bullet journal. Alright, I've moved everything from my home bullet journal, and now I'm going to be going through and reviewing the pages of my work bullet journal to make sure that nothing is missed from there. And now everything has been migrated forward. The only things that are missing are, if you recall at the beginning of this video, I said that I was doing a deep clean. So I do want to put in my assignments for the week. On Monday, I'm going to be doing my kids' trundle bed. Then I'm going to be doing a trunk that's in my room, the laundry room, the half bath downstairs. On Friday, I'll be working on cleaning out my desktop, and then I have a utility closet and a storage room that are outside. So I'm going to go ahead and put those down here at the bottom. And that's about it for this week, guys. Until next time, I hope this video brought you some utility and joy.